Hey everybody, how you doing, Rick?
Doing fantastic, Andrew. How about you?
Good, very good. So yes, another live event, fusing Firefly and Photoshop for unparalleled artistry.
Yeah, it's been way too long. You've been doing a good stuff with the Firefly and all the other events that you've got going on. That's great.
Yeah, staying busy with it, loving it. And thanks StreamYard. So thanks to StreamYard, I multi-stream to the various Facebook groups, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. I think you can even stream to Twitch, but I'm not too
Whoa.
active on that one. Can't spread myself too thin with all these different social platforms.
I hear you.
So yeah, so welcome everybody. Let us know where you're watching from. And we got Edwards here. Good to see you here from Sanford, Florida.
Good place. Grew up in Gainesville myself.
Stephen from Prescott Valley, Arizona.
Welcome, Stephen.
And then Relivo from the UK.
Ooh.
Cool.
Good day.
And my friend Robert from Burbank.
Hey, Robert.
Cool. So yeah, here we are today for fusing Firefly and Photoshop. This is an image that my friend Rick here made. Pretty cool. So we're going into some of these aspects today for sure.
Yeah, Adobe's done an amazing thing with this. A couple of new things. I mean, Firefly's been great since its birth, but what's kind of cool is that they've added some things for artists that really make a difference. So today we're going to talk about the new structure feature, which is for graphic design. That's what I do. I'm a professor of graphic design at Broward College for the last 23 years. And now I'm actually leading all the educators into the AI world. And one of the things I'm showing off is something like this that makes it real easy for someone that is just a visual artist of any kind, really, to kind of think about, controlling their artwork. And before you had a prompt and you kind of had an idea how it would turn out, but you didn't have any way to make sure that it did. And this gives you structure and then style, and then you can layer it up together. So the possibilities are kind of endless. Great for graphic designers, great for artists. And the quality of the image making out of is just Firefly is just off the hook great. So it's a lot of fun to play with.
And let me answer this question from Relivo. He says, I'm not sure I have Firefly. I've got Photoshop and Lightroom sub. So just to let you know, you get to Firefly by going to a browser, and it's simply firefly.adobe.com.
That's it. Couldn't be easier. And then, of course, if you've got the
from Brooklyn,
account,
New York.
Yeah, can you tell about the difference between what the free account gives you and then the pro account? And Andrew?
I'm not even sure how many credits you get. So for sure, there's a different cap on how many credits you get for generating your images. But so I would imagine, as an example, if you're on the free account, you get anywhere between 50 to 500. Whereas if you're on a paid Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, you'll get something like, 1,000 points per month, which is what I'm on, all apps. Is that what you thought?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you think of any generative AI type of software, Midjourney's real expensive, about $30 a month if you want to do it for serious purposes. As a graphic designer, that's definitely one of the products I use. Copilot, which has DALL-E built into it, ChatGPT, that's about $20 a month too, if you want unlimited access to generating images. But for the basically the free accounts, you're getting a dozen images a day, maybe, or less, which is enough for the passive user. If you're doing this professionally, then pretty much everything, including ChatGPT and any of the other AI assisted tools, are pretty much $20 a month, almost like Netflix and everything else. Although Netflix, I think, is probably double that by now. So
yeah. So Robert says he gets 250 on the photography plan, which I think they should raise it for sure. In fact, what they ought to do is give people the option is beyond the points that you get by having a certain Creative Cloud plan. They should let it so that you can pay a certain monthly fee for a higher grouping of credits, so
right.
it's not like you run out and then it should be okay, I want the extra 500 points or whatever.
That's it. That's
And
it.
Robert says he gets 500 on the company's enterprise plan.
Yes. Yeah, the same way with the school, we get the exact same situation for the students.
Right.
And for them, if you need more credits, go bop around somewhere else and try out those things. But the cool thing about Firefly is you've really got control. Other than installing on your own machine some AI like Stability or something like that and having ControlNet, basically you now have ControlNet built into Firefly, which is an extraordinary capability. If you pull to my screen for a second,
I was going to say, Rick, we got
Yeah.
so much to show. Shall I share your screen? There we
Yeah,
go.
let me share just a couple of things. So this is what we're going to talk about today to get you started. You can see that all of these images are generated starting with the structure alone of my photograph and then the photograph of the AI Institute. And what I'm doing today for you is with every time that we do these podcasts, I love to give you a leave behind. And this PowerPoint is going to be a leave behind. In fact, you can download it right now and follow along as you're watching this live. So you're going to have the first access to it. It's a Dropbox account. You can QR code that little guy, take a picture of it now or a screenshot, and then you can play it back later and grab those things. In there, I've got basically a basic outline of what we're going to talk about today, which is the structure, the new feature that just added a couple of weeks ago. And you can upload pictures of your own or use an image that's on your screen you've just generated to add to that structure reference library. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. You can also adjust the amount of the strength and that kind of thing. So structure gives you the capability of adding structure, as you see on the left. And on the right, we can add effects, special effects like 3D and different kind of rendering styles. And then we can add textures, color lighting, and other types of things. In this example, it has a reference library. So I uploaded a picture of myself and then did it in this cartoon style. And there you go. So black tuxedo, red bow tie with a white shirt and a vest. That's a picture of me. Not quite sure why I look that way and why my lips are so red, but I guess the red tie is why that happened, I guess, right?
You sure you didn't put lipstick on?
No, I swear I didn't wear any lipstick. I look pretty good in the dress, but no lipstick for me. So here's a reference.
Before you begin, we have also a friend Sarah's here. Says hi, Rick and Andrew.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing? Welcome.
She's in Edgewater, Florida.
Oh yeah, right nearby. Okay,
cool.
So then you get down to style, and this you can upload an image for it to stylize too. Now the three pictures you see here started with a picture that I saw in just the Adobe Firefly gallery. So as you go in the door and you're seeing these cool images, Andrew's gotten a couple of his featured on the front page, by the way. And if you want to get yours featured, just add it and donate it and let other people use that prompt and go generate their own. So I found this cute little picture of a cat, and my friend likes cats. So I said, okay, let's see what it looks like with a wood kind of design. So uploading that picture or dragging it over as a style reference is something you can do. Picture on the left, styles on the right. And here you can do structure and effect. So take a look at this one. This is stacked up quite a bit. It started with a structure reference. You can see in the bottom here, my picture, then a photo style. So it looks photorealistic. Then a warm tone, studio lighting, close up. You have photography styles too, and you can stack them up. So then I added comic book on top of that, and then photo studio, gorilla portrait suit, tie tuxedo, great ape, nature photo. There you go. Now you've got them all stacked up, and you can kind of see where this kind of
got some nice effects, though. It didn't really take the comic book style, though.
No, it didn't. And even though sometimes you'll say the word like photo studio, and you may not have to use studio lighting.
Right.
So you can mix and match, and sometimes you'll get more effects and less effects. The photorealism isn't quite like others are in the photographic category, but it's getting better as they go. And then things like depth of fields, that's a photographic effect that you can do. So you get that nice bokeh out of focus. If you're used to being a photographer, wide angle lens, telephoto, close up, even drone angle of view. So that's something to check out as you go and do it. This is some of my students' work, and we're going to take a look at the end, how you take your images out of Firefly, pop on over to Photoshop, generate a butterfly in this case, a whole scene, a generative expand. and they changed the tub to a concrete tub, removed some legs, and flipped the picture over. And they had a saleable piece of artwork that was done for an illustration for a class. I'm not going to go into this, but Adobe's been really, really great at making sure artists are respected. And one of the things they do is they fixed bias. If you take a look at recent events by other applications like Gemini, you can see that they are doing an incredible job using their stock photography that they own to generate images. Now, a couple of things I'm going to start with just to give you an idea. When you come in the door and you want to take a look at the community, this is what I do every time I come in. And maybe we'll see Andrew's picture as we come through here. Oh, also, they have little videos that you can watch as you come in.
That's a nice addition.
Yeah, right. And that's new too. They also have up here in the home, community, and then favorites. So I've just been sitting here playing while we're waiting, getting ready, and I generate a couple of images. So if you save your pictures, this is where they're going to go, into the favorites tab. I didn't know that till today. So everything is updating so quickly. It's just really great. So if I wanted to, I could go back and take a look at this image that I've saved and then bring it up. And now it becomes the start of my process. So here's how I want to walk through this very carefully, because you're going to miss some stuff because there's so much packed in here, right? We start with Firefly 2. That's the type of image, and that's the new model. There'll be Firefly 3 in a few months. Who knows, right? Content type, art or photo. That's just the basic thing. And then you can pull it down and you can get into aperture, shutter speed. So you can actually get motion blur, which is pretty cool. Field of view, wide angle, telephoto, and it shows you a little view of that as well. So you start with, I would also suggest taking a look at, because when you render something in landscape or portrait, it's going to change things. So I did a square this time, but let's say that I just change one thing and I say go to landscape. I'm going to let that render as I walk through the rest of this. So I've got field of view, and then I get to the magic new thing, structure. Okay. So what we can load up in structure is we can browse the gallery. Ooh, this is nice. Okay. So I'm looking for, I'm an underwater photographer, so I'm really critical about whether this looks right or not. If the hawksbill turtle's nose isn't quite right, I'll definitely flag that. So I'm going to save this one. I'm going to go up here to share, and then I could submit it to the community. So say I like it. If I want to, guess what else I can do? Hop on over Adobe Express, make a layout for design. Say I'm doing a Firefly, show coming up, and create all kinds of things, including social media posts in Adobe Express. Both of us are also Adobe Express ambassadors. So it's the Swiss Army knife of graphic design, social media sharing, everything else. So definitely check that out. Save it to your library. It's going to make sure where I found this image is something I just did. And then, of course, download it here, or you can actually download it up here. It goes right to your desktop or wherever you designate. Then I can start saying I like it. I can rate it if I want to, and give them feedback, because basically every time you like something, it trains the model a little bit better. When you want to give it a reward, that's what it's looking for. And the folks at Adobe use that to keep going. Look at all the other stuff we can do with this. So I can use this as a style reference. So I want to make that look and feel happen again, or I can use it as a so let's structure reference. All right, so let's find out what we can do with the turtle. So I'm going in, then I'm saying right up here, we go to the next part, which is structure reference. Now that turtle is now the structural reference that I'm going to use. Just to have some fun, let's change it to this black and white picture of an owl to see what else you have available for you. All of these are structures. Now think about structure like a logo or piece of line art. You got the sketches. I've seen some incredible stuff, people doing sketches. Or if you want to stand like this and you want a picture of you in a ninja outfit on Mars, wearing an astronaut uniform, the structure is the shape of your thumbs being up. So think about that as what you want to structure. You just upload a picture, pop it in there. So I'm going to take this same prompt, baby sea turtle, crystal blue, coral water, use the owl as a structural reference. I'm going to change this. I think it would be more fun if this was more of an art style. Then I'm going to go down to styles. So think about styles. Again, we can upload a picture for styles. But look at all these different styles that I've got. All right, let me see if I'm going to try this one here. It looks like sort of an oil painting, right? And then I could
My only concern is if you
get
choose
crazy.
another style after you've already chosen the owl kind of style, does it cancel that style reference out?
No, and here's the difference. Oh, I see. You're right. I did do structure. No, style. So the structure is the owl. The style, basically, that's the color
Okay.
and the mode of artistic expression. That's the difference. So
But
it's
does
going
it,
to use the structure of the owl. So when I say baby sea turtle, I could, I'm going to leave it baby sea turtle, but the structure is going to be the owl, and which is a close-up picture. And then I'm doing an art style. So they stack one on top of another. Just for fun, I'm going to add this one too.
so I wonder
Okay.
if it's going to ignore the prompt then and just kind of put a
Ah,
turtle or put
well,
a owl.
let's find out. That's part of the fun of this. There's so many variables, but the structure is different than the style and is also different than the art technique you're using.
Sure.
So we're basically going to get a mix of all those, but the shape and form should
Still
look,
kept it. Yeah.
pretty much like it was. So it's not doing a baby sea. Oh, it is doing a baby sea turtle. But if you take a look at the structure, which is the owl. Now let's go ahead and change this to a space owl. Yeah, let's just do space owl. Let's see if we can get away with that. Sometimes,
Say prompt is too short.
yeah, that's actually a fun little thing that it does. In fact, space owl on Mars. Oh, you know what? Ooh, oh, wow. Okay, that was fun. It did it anyway. So it'll tell you it can't, that's too short, but that's pretty cool. Oh, I like
So it
this.
brought out the detail from the structure of the owl.
Yes. So space
Mhm.
owl. So owl and owl adds up to definitely paying attention to your owl reference, right? So they do compound each other. So let's see if we can come up with a style that maybe is more, style reference. Let's do this watercolor kind of thing. And then we're going down. So that's references from an image gallery of styles. Then you have what's called effects. Now let's take a look at all of them just so you get the idea. I mean, the list is incredible. So if you know something about art history, I do recommend like going out and looking up what Impressionism is. Let's see. Something that would work with this is cyberpunk, I think. Cyberpunk has got kind of a feel that I want that little darker energy. If I want a color palette difference, so the color is coming from style reference. The art style is the technique, painting, sketching, oils, etc. And then the structure is the shape and form that is taking place within.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's nice. Yeah.
now we're getting somewhere.
You better submit some of those to the community.
I know, right? I don't know if they take votes on this or they just figure people like them, I guess.
Maybe
So
like
I'm
a
gonna go
team.
ahead.
So I want to say hello for Andrew Nichols is here, made it at last,
Hey,
as
Andrew.
well as our friend Andrea. Hey, party people, she says. Happy peach.
You're in the right place. All right, let's try something different. Let's start with an image. I'm going to grab, I did this one earlier. That was kind of fun to play with because it's a photorealistic thing. Let me find something that we can play with. So you can start with kind of browsing. This is what I like to do. I like to browse for something I want to do. Let's say I really like this style. Let's figure out how it was made. So it's an art style. Portrait close-up, a beautiful woman's face made of transparent crystalline blown glass, purple and indigo mosaic. Okay. There's no reference image here, so I'm going to load up a picture I've got sitting there. Let's find, I don't want to do my face. Let's try, oh, here we go. There's a picture. I like that. I'm going to upload that. And so it's going to take the structure from this photograph. And there you can see that it has a little thumbnail for you. I'm going to go down and look at a style. What kind of style should we browse for her? Let's figure out something that will be sort of fun. I'm going to use this. I've used this a couple of times. I like the colors. So when it's using a reference image like this, it's actually picking the colors from this sort of big cloud situation here. Now we go down. How much of that style, that means the styles below, is going to be done here? So visual intensity, and make the color palette basically pull from the style. There's my reference of style, right? Then I'm going to go down to effects. Now, what we're talking about effects typically is just a type like movements, like 3D, cartoon, comic book. I think there's a stained glass one in here. Is there a search engine for this? No, I wish there was. That's something maybe we should
suggest that.
There we go. And so digital art, let's just take a look at that, see what happens. So I started with that. Now, I don't like to take somebody else's thing and just render it out. I mean, this is all public domain, just so you know, legally speaking, anything you generate right out of AI is not protected by copyright law. But as soon as you add stuff to it and you do more than just generate a prompt, then you could basically invest your human capital and turn it into something that you would then be able to take on and go to a different way.
It read the wind in the hair well too, right?
Yeah, so the original picture had wind in the hair, so that structure came along with it, right? So it's picking up the crystal because transparent crystalline blown glass, purple and indigo mosaic. That's where that came from. And the color palette came from these clouds. And the fact that a digital art, now let's try doing without digital art. Let's go back up here and try photo this time. Let's look at photo effects that I might use. Ooh, yes, a nice bokeh effect is going to happen there. Let's get some motion blur because of the angle of view. 50 millimeter lens, yeah, probably. Let's go a little bit wide angle, 35. All right, let's try the same thing, and I bet you this is going to be a fun one here. So is everybody kind of getting, you start off with what shapes do you want? And it could be you breakdancing if you want to. And then you say what you want that to be. Ooh, here we go. Now we're talking. So I think the motion blur helped out a little bit. I love the dress here. It's quite cool. All right, so kind of like that one. Let me go over here. If you've got an Apple mouse or you got a mouse where you could slide back and forth, it's great. I'm a little annoyed because I don't like having to go back and forth. They used to put them in a quad. If you're on your phone, you could actually run this application. I got to be honest, though, it's not really simple. All right, so now let's try another trick. Let's go back up here and let's go for the art style. And we're going to use one of these pictures as the reference. So you could say right here, let's generate this as a style reference.
So Robert has a question. Does the browser matter? I tend to use Chrome. I think that's what they suggest. But
yeah, the first
you
time
are
Andrew and
Safari, so
yeah, when the first time Andrew and I did this, I used Safari and it crashed and burned constantly. So we were doing Acrobat, I guess, right, Andrew? I think it's the first live that we did. And then, but since then, stabilized. I mean, in beta, testing stuff out, that's always going to happen. I've been using
Safari. You're using Safari now, and it's working just fine.
Yeah, there's no issue. I've been using it all day, so I'm not having a difficulty. So now let me go back over and maybe pull in. So I've got the reference of one of these pictures. I can just drag and drop this over here, use as a reference for structure. Let's try something different for the style. Let's go to a kind of a portrait thing here. And let's try, just for fun, layered paper. And then let's change the name. All right, let's try something different. What else would we like to create? How about
paper style, layered paper?
Yeah, okay, so let's do a cat.
Yeah, maybe cat in a fantasy land or fantasy town, small town, something like that. I don't know.
That's why fantasy.
So Edward asks, can the reference image be enlarged? I think it's just you upload it and it just is a source of reference and you can't really change once it's uploaded.
Yeah, so if it's a square, it will still work with a horizontal. If you match up your proportional relationship, I think that wearing a wig and okay, we just got to do this. No, Eagle and Dragon. Where was that? Wearing a red dress and a cape. All right. In front of a castle. Yeah. So The structure is the shape and form of your position. So if you want to get it to be a picture of you, you can start with just a simple thing. You saw the gorilla that I turned into, right? It looks at the shape and form. So
That
this
you
is
created or you turned into? You turned into a gorilla?
oh yeah, that picture. Yeah, well, you don't know. My nightlife is pretty exciting. Yeah, so now this kind of works. I like that. And I think the only thing I'm going to change. So this is referencing a portrait for the image style, and then it's referencing the original photograph for the other style, which is the structure style. Now let's change up and upload a new picture. So I'm going to find something different. Let's go with the logo. So let's go with this other logo. Oh, here we go. This is what I'm going to do. Here we go. So this is the lotus position sort of image that I did a while ago. And I'm going to use that as my structure.
So
go ahead and leave everything alone.
Edward asks, can the woman change to an actual person? And I believe that would be if you were to choose photo as opposed to art as the content type.
To be real honest with you, their photo is not perfect. If you really, this is nice. Okay, so it took the lotus position of the woman and the style and the structure reference. It took sort of a photographic picture of a guy sitting at a table as a style reference. Remember, style is color, not shape and form. Structure is shape and form. Art style, that's just the overall style as opposed to photo. So let's take that out and make it photo. And I want to get rid of paper style because that's not working for us. Let's give that another shot.
Sure. See.
So that should give us a almost photographically looking image of a person with side lighting from the color palette that comes from style. It should add the lotus position. There we go.
Not bad.
We said castle background. Got that. And it's pretty much photographic rendering.
Yeah, the woman looks good. The castle looks a little like a toy castle or something. But
okay, so how about we say mountain top ice castle. This is where you get to get really good with your words. If you do that, you're definitely going to get some more interesting structures. Now, what I typically do if I want some real action, because I shoot a lot of models underwater, and I love to have floating hair, and I love to have other kind of like movement in the frame. So I'll say flying hair, or I'll say windswept. Oh, there we go. Now we're really starting to get somewhere. I didn't ask for that mask.
Pretty creative, yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right, that's a keeper. Let's go ahead and put that in the community and see if it flies, right? Vote for me if we ever have a capability of doing that. I don't know.
Sure.
But I think that what I'm kind of feeling here is it has a nice verticality to it. So maybe I need to either go landscape or make this into a portrait. I'm going to try portrait for now. Let me go down and see if I can get a little more excitement out of the kind of technique and the. I
was going to say you're going to have to let me go in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Half an hour in, and not letting you having fun.
I know, right? I can sit there all day and do this. You just have a party and have all your friends, everybody prompt, and then you just jump on there. Yeah, turn it over to you.
In fact, we should do that. Do a live where we have like 4 or 5 of us just.
Oh, where did this come from? I have no idea where that came from, but that's weird. Okay, so I'm going to save this. All right, take it away, Andrew. It's all yours, buddy.
No, these are great, though. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to understand is structure is like a logo. So if you do a logo or you do a sketch, just an outline sketch, you could just sit there with a piece of paper, take a picture of it, pop it in there, and then the shape and the form is there. Then you give it character by putting words in there. I said cat fantasy wearing cape. That's it.
Right, you did have that in there.
Yeah, and the picture was of a woman, so that's why we're getting the woman. Now I get it. So yeah, you'll be able to dissect exactly what you're getting. And what we call this is prompt coherency. So go ahead and share your screen. Show me what you got going on here.
Right. So
that's nice. Sweet.
Well, that's one from the gallery. So that's just one that I clicked on just to get in.
I recognize that. Yeah.
It's not even mine. But so yeah, I came up with a whole bunch of different prompts related to it. And I said clear. So I just kept art.
Sweet.
So in this case, I want it to be, it's once again it tells you its model is the Firefly Image 2, and as Rick said, hopefully Firefly Image 3 will be coming out soon enough. Always
It seems to
advancing.
be every 6 months or so, they're doing something new, so who
Cool.
knows?
And then I have it set to widescreen, and then I have it set to art, and then for reference image, I'm going to click. So just to clarify, you can click either upload image or you can click just the icon. So I click on the icon, and then I have a couple images for today.
Here we go.
So I
I mean,
have
do
this
this
big
with your kids, right? How fun is this?
right. So I have a big teddy bear in front of a bunch of like photos, like at a gallery or something. And I'm going to move strength all the way to the right,
Now, when you guys
and
were
then
playing this before, there's only like 3 positions for strength, right? And that's basically how close it's gonna stay coherent to your choices there?
yeah, it doesn't let me go in between. It's like,
Mm.
far right, middle, and left. So I'm going to take it far right, I guess. And then yeah, visual intensity, you can move that in smaller increments for sure, though.
Okay.
And then
So that's everything below the word styles is now what the style intensity is, yeah?
right, so I'm not going to go into like the effects, the different styles. Maybe I'll try painting,
Ooh, here you go.
and color and tone.
Ooh, I forgot about that whole part at the bottom. You got lighting, color, tone, and camera angle.
Let's see, cool tone, monochromatic. Well, I don't know about vibrant. I might try that next, but then lighting. I said dramatic, so I wrote moody lighting in my prompt, but I also
Mm.
chose dramatic lighting. We'll see. And then, so I just click on it. It's interesting. It says try prompt here on the right. So,
I think that's what we're here for.
but I don't know. Like it normally used to say generate. So
Oh, okay. Huh.
I think what it was it was referencing the original image I got from the community. Wow, look at that. That's pretty
Oh,
cool. So
he's
it
a
took
little creepy.
right. So it took this basic, you know, this basic teddy bear in front of like a gallery of photos,
Yeah.
and then brought us to a more dramatic thing. So I like that. Yeah.
The
Download it.
moody yeah, that's definitely a good one. Look at the castles in the background. Where'd that come from?
Well, so it took the different images that were in the back and then made its own kind of, references to
Oh,
castles or something. So I'm
the
submitting
original
it to
picture
the
had, like,
community.
books. Yeah. Ha,
Right. So
I
there's
love
that.
it.
So that's the first one, second
Oh,
one,
okay. It's a creepy smile, I guess.
third one. I like this kind of muted colors here though.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll make a little
beautiful.
slideshow of these and then submit to community.
Yeah, they've really moved things around so it now makes more sense. It
Yeah,
took me a while to find the gallery that I like.
it's not letting me submit to community now for some reason. I don't know. So
Mm,
okay, so if I
sweet.
hit share, submit to community, now it's letting this one. Maybe
Okay.
thought the other one was too similar. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I think, for those folks who are using it a lot, you've gotten up a couple of times into the gallery, huh?
Yeah, a few times. It's nice to see. So let's see. We'll try synthwave. Get rid
Mhm.
of painting, and then for color, I think I'll do vibrant colors,
There you go.
and then maybe I'll get rid of dramatic lighting. Get rid of moody lighting in the prompt. So yeah, and hit generate. Let's see what
Have
that
you
does.
noticed it kinda doubles up if you use moody lighting and then you say dramatic lighting altogether, or does it influence it that much?
I'm not sure if it does so much. I just like to keep it clean, though. Yeah,
Oh.
see, so now it's very focused on
What's
this
the original?
kind of
That
colorful.
creepy?
What
I
is
don't
it?
remember I don't remember the original one being quite that creepy.
Oh, it's cute.
Uh,
The lines between creepy and cute are blurred here.
holy cow.
Submitting it, downloading it. It's kind of
Okay.
cool.
I guess I got a thing with clowns and,
Yeah, it has this.
and
There we
bears.
go. I like the background, the way it's like flat artwork style.
Yeah. So that's synthwave, I guess, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, if you're ever in one of my art history classes, I'm using this and this kind of technique to learn about art history and how it applies to what you're doing today. It's kind of a cool way to go. In fact, take some old art history pictures and kind of recast them in a modern light would be kind of interesting.
Cool. So yeah, I just want to have a little fun. Let you take it into the next elements.
Okay,
So
so let's go on over to Photoshop, if you will. And
oh,
so
and then Sarah asked, "Are you having to use credits to do all of these, or did that go away?" So let me just double check
still using
though.
credits.
Yeah, still using credits, and then I believe I was at like 978 or 9. So it only used like 4 or 5 credits though. So it doesn't
So
use like batches of 10 or 20.
yeah.
It's
So if
just,
you do Creative Cloud account and you're paying your money for that, you're going to get 1,000 credits a month. And let me tell you, I do a lot of rendering. I don't do that much. And then what I typically do is I set myself a course. So I'm really serious about my art making process. So in this case, I basically rendered that central figure, which I really liked. And now I've just gone through and done generative expand. And then I kind of look for the composition. Now,
sure.
because I post on social media a lot, I'm using a ratio of 16:9. This is in Photoshop to be able to expand. And I just have my layers up and then I have my properties up. That's it. That way I can concentrate on what I'm doing. Let me just kind of make it more complete here. And then I can take images that I render. This one I already kind of did, kind of pre-rolling, but let me show you where I started. So that's the picture I had. Then I did one expand generation. I really liked this one. And the cool thing is that each layer still contains the other options that I didn't use. So I can go back and take a look at what choices I made and make sure that's still the right one that I wanted to do. In fact, if I have 2 choices and I want the right to be from one render and the other to be from the other render, I just simply duplicate the layer and then I can go add more to it.
Nice. So it's nicely
Yeah.
integrated all the way through.
Right. So it's a question, I try to set off the center. I always use the rule of thirds. So maybe I want to have this character just a little bit more where the eye is right at that nexus point. Rule of thirds, basically your eye reads left to right, top to bottom when you're reading text, and you do the same thing with images. I call these.
And Rick,
yeah.
Jessica has a question. Do the source pictures have to be in a specific format? Example, like JPEG. I think it's JPEG or PNG, right?
PNG is probably much better. It's non-compressed, so there's no loss of quality. JPEG, you are going to lose quality every time you use JPEG. So just be aware of that. PNG,
but you can't upload like a PSD or TIFF, I don't think, right?
To Photoshop?
No, as a source picture.
Oh, I think I've actually tried even Web WB or whatever those files are. Yeah, I pretty much put everything up there. I haven't had it kick it back. Now, what you can do is go to Adobe Express. So if you bring up, this is something actually kind of worth knowing. Whenever you go into Adobe products, I quit it. Go up to your Creative Cloud up at the top and then launch that to go into Firefly and Adobe Express because it signs you right in automatically. So you don't have to sit there and sign in some other method. So that's actually kind of cool to know. So basically, I'll start off with a square image. Then I'll come over here and then I'll retouch the photograph. Then I'll decide what I really want to add to the picture. I want the hair. I'm going to put that there. And so this is my finished phase. I'm also going to go in there and go into the detail of every one of these images and take out the extra, that alien ship looks horrible or whatever. So, now you've got control. This is professional grade stuff we're talking about here. This illustration, I could sit there and redo the hair. So typically I'll come in here and I don't like these spaceships. So let me
I was going to say, I went back and watched Matrix 1, 2, and 3 recently, and it reminds me of Matrix 2.
Does that make you start to want to do these things?
Well, it reminds me of it.
Yeah. Whenever I go into and I've got a bunch of layers, I usually, if I'm going to do something like render a new layer, I flatten my images, make sure I pick the right one. you can save a layered you got like 50 layers of generated fill as a Photoshop document, and then 5 years from now you can go back and pick which option you wanted to. Your Photoshop file is going to be big, but it's kind of a cool thing to do. So I'm going to say steampunk. I love steampunk. It's just a great look.
I think it's one word though, right?
Yeah, it is. I can't spell. I usually use my voice to do all my spaceship.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, so let's see if we can make a steampunk spaceship. A steampunk is actually kind of a Jules Verne thing. So back in the 1800s, when everything was steam powered, so it adds a lot of detail. There's a lot of craftsmanship.
Yeah,
There's a
right.
lot of that's not bad. Oh, that's like a dirigible or something going on there.
Let's see
there
the
we
first
go.
one again. I think the first one's pretty cool too.
All right, let's do that one. Okay, and then you come over here, and I can replace these guys with a let's see, a steampunk
Octopus.
Okay, yeah, that's. I don't know why it's putting.
Surreal as possible.
Now, there's a lot of applications. Both of us, Andrew and I, use Topaz to upscale everything, Topaz AI. And I basically, whenever I'm done like this, that's not, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it doesn't mingle the two realities too well, right?
Octopus, think about how hard it was, though. So I
kind of like it though, just as a new created, flying object.
Yeah. So you could go in there and do quite a few things. And of course, every other skill set you've got in Photoshop is kind of where you can go off on a tangent and then do some really interesting things. Actually, let me open up a picture I've already got here. I think I've got in my documents demo here. So I've got a bunch of pictures that I did earlier today. Let me go to this folder. Yeah, there we go. That's the images I did earlier. There you go.
These are great printed like a large poster,
Exactly. So this image you saw me working on earlier, right? But you notice that the face is all of a sudden fixed and there's super detail all the way through. This is a 130 megabyte file, a PNG. So I went into Firefly, created the base image that I actually got because it was a lotus position with a transparent woman. And then I expanded it in Photoshop, added a couple of butterflies and some other things. Then I took it over to Crea, K-R-E-A. If you want to have some fun for a couple of days, that's a place to go. And it's free to try out. I definitely
and let me answer a question. So Jessica says, will we be able to see a replay? And yes, I will also announce that at the end, where to go. But I always post the link to the recordings at the top of the Facebook groups, as well as remind you to go to my Drew Cav YouTube channel. That's where all the live recordings are. And you can subscribe, as well as go back and watch many of the live events that we've done. And got to schedule a lot more with Rick this year. We've done a few, but let's keep it going.
I'm busy teaching educator stuff. Yeah. But the one thing I want to talk about is that out of Firefly, you got a couple of megabytes image size, but then you go into new programs like Topaz. Magnifique is very expensive, but it will actually generate eyelashes and everything. It's insane.
Now,
a couple of times. So
now this image itself, before you took it into Photoshop and extended, etc., was this created in Firefly or was this created like a mid-journey?
It was 4 megabytes. I think I've got the original here. It's now 100 megabytes at this point after going through Crea and Topaz too. I did both.
I was going to say, no doubt Firefly's gotten better because it used to not be as good with the details as we see now.
Yeah. In fact, here is other versions of the same thing. So this is the quality of the face originally. So Topaz and Crea and Magnifique, those three are upraising and actually creating new detail. So this is the exact same photograph you're just looking at right there. That's the base image. So if I take that and open it up, you're like, wait, what? That's the same image? Look at the detail. This is not there.
Sure. Now I was going to say something and someone else saying the same type of thing. So Relivo says, I hate that the resolution of generative fill is lower quality than the photo in Photoshop. So that is
here's your trick. just expand it by about 2 or 3 megabytes per expansion. Why?
So
Because
do a
that's
little
all
bit
it's
at a time.
Yes. There's actually someone wrote a script where if you're trying to go to 100 megabytes, take it up in Topaz or Magnifique or one of those kind of things. And then when you start to do generative fill, just like make a small butterfly. That's easily just a megabyte, right? I typically do the butterfly when it's a small file. Don't wait till it's 100 megabytes, because anything I add at this point is going to go back to that original resolution of whatever Adobe and Firefly. So when you're generating an image, it's making a basically, 2 to 4 megabyte image, period. You go to take it up, these new applications are using AI to basically look at the structure, remember structure, right? And the style, and it's replicating it. But when you go, like if I go in here and I start to take this image and try to expand it, if I went into to crop this thing, I'm just not going to get the detail that I had originally. Yeah, my disk is full because this is a big image. But yeah, if I go into this one over here that's not enhanced yet, and I go to expand it, I typically will just do a little bit of time. So I assume that this is a 14 megabyte file, which is actually, oh, you know what? The new file format of Firefly is actually bigger than it was before. So let me just try this and see what happens here.
Someone's Relivo says, I hope Adobe Express does this in the future.
Yes, they're working on that. In fact, if you took a look at their most recent announcements, what's really cool is they have Design Studio. So it's Adobe Express for Coca-Cola sized companies. So it generates thousands of assets per hour. So yeah, it looks like I'm running out of disk space here, so I have to kind of close some stuff down. But yeah, cool. Take a look at that. That's going to be the future of all graphic design, marketing. Take a look at their presentation. Basically, they took the shell of what Adobe Express does, and they added a powerful front end and analytics on the back end. So literally, the demo, if you look online, it's called Gen Studio from Adobe. If you're in the business of doing that, it's basically Firefly and Sensei engine underneath. Also, the Adobe Analytics, which is actually better than Google Analytics in some ways. So you can do predictive marketing, and you can get, it's pro level. But let's say that you're a student, like my students, I'm having them learn Adobe Express because then they understand the framework. So you know that Lightroom is built off of what was Camera Raw, right? So Camera Raw is the engine that's used in Lightroom, but in Lightroom, you can do all kinds of stuff going in and out, creating websites, printing books, etc. So if you think of Adobe Express, what it is it's the amateur or a prosumer, let's call it that, because it's really good. Right. I would use it for professional work. Uses the same engine and ideas.
Now, a question I have, when you were talking about Gen Studio, is that something you can just have a different subscription to? So if someone's
it's for corporations. Person, it's for corporations, and I'm sure it's pretty pricey. But this basically everything they're doing is to get to a place where these are professional tools. I'm at a professional tool place, but if I were to take this image and try to put it on, I would need to work this quite a bit more. Now that techniques like up-resing in Lightroom and other places are happening, so this is really starting to expand. So this is as bad as it's ever going to be. And if you looked at Firefly 1 compared to this, you're still going to be kind of shocked how good this is. And then if you go look at the other tools you've got available, everybody is in a race. But, the internet took about 15 years for us to get to the point we're at. iPhones are not that old.
Well, so I just heard some really cool news. I just heard that we're talking about the next chip for Macs, the M4 chip is going to be focused on AI capabilities.
Yes.
So if you think about what they're really saying, is they're saying that going forward, Macs themselves are going to be very AI focused, and a lot of AI, apps or integrations part of the system.
Absolutely. So everybody's AI. So June 10th, take a look. Apple's going to come out with their mega thing. They bought up more AI companies in the last year than anybody else on the planet. And they basically took them so they could make something that's going to be amazing. Now, this if you're an Apple fan, even if you're not an Apple fan, they never come out first, but they come out best.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Let's not start an argument here. No arguments
Okay.
here.
Well, okay. So some props
Now,
for you Samsung people. Just yesterday, 6.1 came out. You got real live translations to any language in the planet. Hello. That's
yeah.
what I'm waiting for Siri to be. It's none of those things now. So the next move is you got all these large language models, now task agents. So they go get stuff done. So
These are
they
nice.
literally order your airline tickets for you.
Now, since we have about 10 minutes left,
Yeah.
can I jump on over and have a
Please
little
do.
fun?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, these are quite nice. And you got to print some of those horizontal ones out as posters for sure.
Yeah, this one I'm going to go redo it as a horizontal because the space isn't there to make it really work. So that's what I basically do is I go up and make changes based upon what I'm trying to get. A horizontal is going to be a better fit for this particular image.
Right. So
All
I'm
right,
going to
take it away.
upload a new reference image. And let me just show you real quick. So cute astronaut, little astronaut. Got this from Pexels. Yep. So open that. And then since it's a very vertical shot, I think I'm going to go from widescreen to maybe just square. And I could choose photo, but I think art always lends itself to being a little bit more creative. So do that. And then in terms of styles or effects, where did you find that paper one? I don't know if it'll take it for this, but
if you go to all effects, I think it's in the layered paper right there in the middle top. You had it.
It was under popular.
Right there, right in the middle.
This one, layered paper.
Layered paper. Yeah.
Okay, so, and then I don't think I need vibrant colors. Just see what comes up. And so it's not going to be the same image. So it's not going to be the similar prompt. So it's little girl as an astronaut floating through the universe, colorful and fantastic.
Nice.
Let me see what they're suggesting for their prompt suggestions.
They do a pretty good job. They're pretty good writers. So
yeah, I'll add the fantastic landscape of planets, imaginary worlds. So we have the little girl as an astronaut set to art style, synthwave, layered paper. Here we go. Hit generate.
So your last one had vampire in the word, I think, huh?
Yeah, maybe that's why it made the teddy bear a little scary looking. It didn't show the fangs.
Yeah.
It didn't show the fangs, but it showed the dark personality.
Oh my
cute.
God, that's going to be an awesome children's book.
Now the thing that I find it's nice, but I find it a little frustrating is, the image that I used. So let's go back. The image I used, she's kind of standing straight up and even holding her helmet, and yet here she's. I guess because you say floating. Once you say floating, they're like, okay, well, we got to make it realistic. So bent leg,
right? Huh.
What your strength is, even though I like it, I just wish it had a face.
Yeah, your strength is 100%, so it should be using that structure pretty strongly. But you said floating, I guess.
I like to use.
Yeah.
And then maybe share.
Do you keep a text document of your prompts or anything like that?
Yeah, I use the Notes app on my Mac. And, I need to structure it better though. Like I tend to just say like prompts and new prompts. And I need to I need to organize it into like separate notes for the kind of theme of the prompt, I think.
Well, I noticed the actual name of the file is your prompt, not always complete, but you can go back and look at an old image and find out what your prompt. In fact, there you go. You can see it said Firefly, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were going to put that in the metadata, so you could go back to any image anytime and kind of rethink it. In fact, if you got ChatGPT or one of those kind of things, you might feed it some successful prompts and have it come up with a dozen new ones for you in the style that you like.
So now I'm changing it a little bit to strange planet behind with moody lighting. I'm going to get rid of some of the other ones.
Yeah.
And then just go down to, I guess in this case, go to lighting. Even though I wrote moody lighting, I tend to also want to choose dramatic lighting, color and tone. Let's see. What do you think? Warm tone?
Yeah, why not? Let's see what that does. The
So,
vibrant seems to be a bit crazy.
yeah.
If you've ever been an artist kind of working with, styles, the biggest complaint of most artists is that they feel like their styles are being ripped off. And the beautiful thing about Adobe is they never use anybody's name by prompt. So if you say surreal or something like that, you're not getting Salvador Dali and you're not violating anybody's copyright. So it's kind of cool the way they are. Oh, there you go.
Just didn't really listen to my warm tone.
Well, it's reddish, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Still fun though.
Yeah.
And I like this one. I just wish it had a face, but
And the feet seem to be backwards on the
I was just gonna say it looks like the whole thing's backwards because you have a backpack, it looks like.
right.
Yeah,
What's
the
on the
face is-
last picture
well-
there? That looks like okay.
Yeah, and then we have this, then far. Oh, that's cute. That's a
Oh,
cute one.
yeah.
So download that one and then add to community. And then I wanted to get to some of the questions too. So I noticed there's a few questions. So first is Relivo asks, can Firefly create consistent characters? So just to go back to one of the original images, this is a series of images that Rick created based on his original structural reference image. So yes, absolutely, he did that.
Yep. So two things to keep in mind. So I'm doing a children's book and I want the little girl to look like the little girl every time. Also, it's sort of a painting style. So what do? You load up the picture of the face and the kind of position that you want. In fact, you might render multiple positions like a character sheet. So if you do the character sheet of your person, and then you put the scenario, what the background is. Second thing, style and effects. Load up if it's painting, if it's coloring book style, whatever it is, the look and feel of it. Load up the effect to be that way. Then the color palette comes from the style. So then you're ending up creating a character library, just like 3D artists do, or any artists that are cartooning. Disney did this, right? You make a character sheet first with different positions, different actions. That's your structure. And then you go into the prompt, which is your scene that you're laying out. And then you go to your style and your effects to get the painting look or to get the other color palette or to change the camera angle view at the very bottom. So basically,
and there's one thing I noticed that I wanted to let people know is when you're creating these images and it creates a series and you do want to share it to the community, submit to community, make sure you see that there's a white frame around it, meaning it's selected. Because I was looking at this one on the right, but this one was selected. And then when I went to share, I saw that the preview was this image, and I'm like, I don't want to submit that to community. You just make sure you see the nice white little stroke or frame around it.
That's good to know.
But yeah, so let me come back. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
So yeah, this has been quite good, and wanted to just kind of go over, where you can find us online. Now, before I do that, there's a nice little announcement I want to make. So coming up in May is the Lightroom Virtual Summit. So the Lightroom Virtual Summit is coming May 20th through 24th. Sign up for free, or you can purchase a VIP pass to get immediate lifetime access to all the classes, bonuses such as class notes. And
those are the best people in the business. I've been doing this. I've been to every Photoshop world. I've been to everything. All those guys are the best.
Right. So this is run by Dave Cross, who's part of the Cowboy.
The master.
Let's see. Let me bring it up here in the background so I can, as a reference. So just so you know, the presenters are going to be Anthony Morganti, Ben Wilmore, Chris Orwig, Colin Smith, Daniel Gregory, Glenn Dewis, Jared Platt, Jesus Ramirez, Christina Shirk, Lisa Carney, Matt Kliskowski, Brian Matias, Rob Sylvan, Sean McCormick, and Tim Gray. A lot of great people that you see a lot in the industry and are kings on YouTube.
And Lightroom, yeah. So does it cover everything? Is it Lightroom mostly, or does it go into any of this other stuff?
Well, it's going to be Lightroom, but it'll be a mixture of, like, say, Lightroom, what they call Cloud, and Lightroom Classic, and a good variety of that. And then just to let people know that Rick compiled a nice grouping of notes for today. So I will post that in the description on the YouTube recording. But in general, that's today's notes is at bit.ly slash 4AV3D2F.
Take a
And then
screenshot and you can copy and paste it on your phone.
that's
So
right. Take a
that's kind of
screenshot
cool.
there.
There you go.
And then you can follow Rick online. You can find him online at bit.ly /m/Rick McCawley. What's the M for? I don't know why they do that. The M. They should just,
I don't know.
yeah.
Just to categorize it, I guess. But the cool thing is, I have a Facebook page, and I'm one of the administrators along with Andrew. He's got the largest community of Lightroom and Photoshop people doing crazy cool stuff. And your art, I mean, it's just he's the guy you need to follow if you want to learn some stuff, because there's a whole community that just putting all their best work up there and sharing.
Well, I'll use that as a springboard to go. So first is you will find the recording here as well as various other lives. So consider subscribing for more AI art and digital art focused live streams and tutorials on my YouTube, youtube.com @DrewCav. That's youtube.com @DrewCav. Or you could do a search for Drew Cav on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Facebook on my Andrew.Kavanagh profile. So facebook.com/Andrew.Kavanagh, where I now have the professional mode. So I get to see my analytics and all that. You can also follow me on my Digital Artist Drew Cav page on Facebook, which you can get to at facebook.com/digitalartistdrew. And then, as Rick said about the groups, do consider joining, if you're not already a member, the Photoshop and Lightroom group, facebook.com/groups, Photoshop Lightroom group. I think it's at 391 or 92,000 members now. And we will have a contest when we pass 400,000. Probably give away a Creative Cloud subscription, and maybe I'll reach out to some other friends in the Photoshop and Lightroom industry and see if they have some courses we can offer as a contest prize. And then if you're not already a member, please consider joining the AI Art and Digital Art group, facebook.com/groups, AI Art Digital Art. And just a reminder, both of these groups, Photoshop and Lightroom group and AI Art and Digital Art group, if you search for those on LinkedIn, I don't have the link up, too many things to show, but if you do a search for those same names on LinkedIn, the Photoshop and Lightroom group is about 18,000, and the AI Art and Digital Art group on LinkedIn is a new group, so it's about 703 members. Do come and join and post. Not as active as the Facebook groups, but still, if you like LinkedIn, it's a nice group, 2 different groups to join. And we got... So yeah, Relivo says, will you link the event in the Facebook group? So always, I post the recording link at the top featured post. And
if you happen to be an educator, they'll follow my Facebook page, Rick McCawley. You put Rick McCawley and you're basically going to get everything about me. So you don't even have to put down the bit.ly thing. But my YouTube, I've got 8 3-hour-long episodes talking to educators about everything AI. So cool. I want to lead educators to help change tomorrow, so we prepare our students for a better, happier tomorrow. And artists, we do a special edition just for artists to celebrate. As you guys share on Andrew's Facebook pages, sharing is caring, but it's also, supporting each other is a way that we can become more of a community. When faced with a world of AI and worries, artists especially, we want to be appreciated and celebrated. It's a nice, safe space for artists. And thank you, Andrew, for making this community come together. And I'm so happy to join you today. Thank you so much. It's fun.
All right. So remember to subscribe for more lives and to see the recordings on my Drew Cav. So youtube.com/@DrewCav. Subscribe to my YouTube. Nice. So yes, thank you, Rick. It was great and very informative, a lot of fun, very creative. And we will come up with some other ones. And I like the idea, besides the Firefly 4 that I do, I like the idea of getting a group of friends, artists, and we taking turns on, maybe using the same prompt. We tweak it a little bit and
Oh yeah,
create our own versions.
yeah. Telephone, yeah.
Little themes, thematic
AI
creative talent.
telephone, Firefly telephone.
Cute. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And
Thank
make
you.
sure to check out the recordings and feel free to watch as many of the other ones as possible. Thanks, everybody.